everybody, Weeb Rabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overlord Podcast, episode 38. I hope everyone who is listening to this is doing well, and yeah, this is kind of a strange week because I feel like there was like a lot of video game news all at once, and I'm not really sure why. I was going to look into it, but, I was just kind of in a hurry to put the stories together, but that I know of, there was just like a lot of like game announcements and stuff coming out. I don't know if there's some sort of like a event going on or something. So most of our news just throwing out there now. It's gonna be video games. It's very video game focused, but all the same, hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm sure that anime and other stuff will have its time in the sun soon enough. So yeah, this just I was looking at the docket right now and I noticed I'm like, it's a lot of video game news stories. You guys will see what I mean in a moment. With that being said, yeah, another episode, pretty exciting stuff. Legend of Jonathan is here, of course. How are you doing, Legend of Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you, bro?
I am mostly doing pretty good. That reminds me of another thing that I'll just talk about it now, I guess. I could say it for my week, but I'll just say it from the top. I'm a bit upset because I even told Terrific in one of our recording sessions. I'm upset because if you remember, when we were talking about Emu VR, I'm like, I'm going to try to buy myself like a VR headset so I can try it out. And I've been wanting a VR headset for a while. And this is like the final little push or whatever. And so I was able to find one, like on eBay. I was able to order it, got it through an auction. It's supposed to be a pretty good price. And I was supposed to get it literally like earlier in the week. Of the time of us recording this. I was supposed to get like at the beginning of the week. And It's so stupid because it was even coming from really close by. Like the seller wasn't even far away. Is the ridiculous part. Like when I saw like where they were shipping it from, I'm like, oh, that's like not even far away at all. Like what the heck? But I'm like, cool, it'll probably get here then. Like, it did say like express shipping. I'm like, if when it comes from far away, they're able to like pull it off. Like hell, they'll be able to pull it off even better here because it's not from far away. And literally, it was crazy because they got to say like the guy dropped it off in the post office. Like I ordered it, let's say like a Friday, and I guess like it was kind of late, so the guy dropped it off like at the post office on Monday, and literally it's like, item is in possession of post office, and then later that night, it has left the post office, is going to like the next facility or whatever, and that was like the last update I got Monday.
That's so.
And since then, it's just been days where there's been no update, and it just says, "Yeah, it's moving through the network or whatever." So it's just like missing.
Crazy.
It's missing. It's like so
stupid.
Oh
my god, that sucks.
And I can't do anything about it because like if you try to put like some sort of like, "Hey, where's my package? It's missing," some sort of request, can you guys find it? No, it hasn't been enough time yet. So even though I know there's an obvious problem because nothing's updated and it's literally like in my city, like I wish I could just drive over there and pick it up, no, it hasn't been enough time yet. You have to wait.
That's super dumb.
So even though there's an obvious problem and I can try to get sorted out quicker, no, you have to wait for enough time to pass to sort it out. Like that's so ridiculous. So that has me a bit bothered, but and there's another thing that bothered me too. Also, that I will save for my week. Another thing that bothered me that I had been excited for, that I will save though. So I'm doing fine, but it could be better. I'm a little ticked off,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll save the other thing for, in a moment. So before that, go ahead, do your week. I know you only have the one thing to talk about, so just go ahead, Take it away. Take it away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, once again, we're gonna be talking about Pikmin 4. This time I finally beat the main story, though.
Nice.
Finally,
nice.
The game was pretty good. Obviously, after the credits rolled, there was like some post game stuff. I could tell there was gonna be like the post game. Even in the credits, they kind of hint at the post game stuff, which was pretty cool. And yeah, the game was pretty good. I feel like by this point I can rank the games like, in order of like which ones I thought were like the best to like the worst.
Yeah.
I feel like Pikmin 4 was the best. Pikmin 2 is the second best. Pikmin 3 is 3, and Pikmin 1 is 4. Like in
Interesting.
that
So
order.
yeah, so fourth the best, then second, then third, then the first one.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. And obviously that could change depending on how the uh post game goes. But I guess it would have to do
hmm
like really bad to be like, oh, it brought it down, right?
hmm
Okay, got you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. So you thought that like the level design was good. You thought that all of like the stuff they added for like grinding and like leveling up and like upgrades, all of that was like really well done, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I thought it
Uh,
was really nice that they added the stuff where, you can get some upgrades when you rescue people. It's cool that, you get like these little things called pup drives. So you can like get, how do you call it? Have Ochi learn new moves and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I think
nice.
it's pretty cool that, as you rescue people, like one of the people that you have on your team, he'll like make new gadgets for you and Ochi to like use. I think that was
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Nice.
Um, and then I love the level designs. Like, you mentioned if they were great. I loved each and every single level. I thought they were really big and that there was a lot to explore, and I liked how much there was to explore. I thought
Hmm.
the caves were pretty cool. Dandori battles, I thought they were pretty fun. And not only the Dandori battles, but like the Dandori challenges, I thought they were pretty fun. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
And
I
then the
thought the
night the
plot.
night stuff too. You thought it was like a good addition, the night
Oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Definitely the night stuff too. The night stuff I thought was a really good addition. Um, I thought it was pretty stressful at times.
Yeah, you explained that last
Um,
time I remember you talking about that.
hmm but I feel like you get used to it, and by the last night expedition I had done, I had I feel like this is where I kind of like realized I could have made everything much more easier if I actually knew what I was doing exactly. Um, so like I feel like there was some stuff I messed up where like I kind of like depended more on like pure defense and pure offense instead of kind of like going to different locations and doing certain stuff to kind of make everything more easier, like the little tiny hive things.
Hmm.
Then instead of activating those, I kind of just usually protected the giant one. And so like in the last one, when I started protecting like the tinier ones, that made it more easier because like I can grow my Pikmin more easier than like if I saw like one of the enemies was at like a tiny hive, that allowed me to kill the enemies more easier. And then I thought that was cool because by the end in like the last three night expeditions, the boss from Pikmin 1, which is called the Smoky Prog, which is like a weird little tadpole prog thing. It's crazy because it shows up in those last three night expeditions, and literally like it's like the main like boss of those three yeah, like those three nights basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's another thing I heard that people seem to like that. Like a lot of stuff came back, right? Like it almost feels
hmm
kind of like what kind of like fan service where it's like, oh, it's like almost like everything came back and like some stuff that hadn't come back in a while. It's like, oh, it's back now, and you know, yeah, it just feels like they brought everything. Like it's kind of like the Smash thing. Everybody's here, sort of thing.
That's basically what Pikmin 4 has pretty much been like. And I also feel like
Nice.
it was pretty good that they did bring back everything because like some of that stuff, it's not even just, oh, it's because it's like iconic. It's because like the fact that like it just feels right that a lot of that stuff would be like in like the sequels, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Especially because like Smoky Prog, for example, like it's infamous because it's like the fact that like it's like the secret boss of Pikmin 1. And then, like the way you fight it in Pikmin 1 is that like your Pikmin aren't even immune to it. So like if it gets poisoned, each and every single one of them can get poisoned by it because of like the smoke around its body, and they can like immediately get killed like within like one attack, basically. So it's like
Yeah.
about you being really smart. And with the glow Pikmin, it's funny because I was like, oh, like, if I charge them up, it's gonna like kill it easily. And it is true, it does kill it easier. But like if you actually don't charge them up right, or if you have like less Pikmin, the Smoky Prog can still kill them actually, which was actually
Oh,
really
nice.
cool. which I
Yeah.
thought was pretty cool because I was like, oh, that doesn't make like the glow Pikmin's like pushovers. And so I was like, that's actually a good way to like actually work it around. To like unless you're like smart and you know like, hey, like let's grow Pikmin like right away. Let's, take out the glow seeds. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like if you're going for like a lower like amount of Pikmin, like you're definitely gonna like have a harder time fighting it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
I thought it was pretty fun.
Nice. So that's pretty good that you finally finished the, main story. You're gonna do like this the post game stuff. You enjoyed it. That's really cool. Um,
Hmm.
pretty good, pretty good. That's cool. I'm glad that you were able to like play all the games leading up to this one as well as this
Hmm.
one. The only bad thing now you have to like, hey, is there gonna be a fifth one? When is that gonna happen?
Yeah, especially because I saw like I know it was like a joke article, but I saw one where it says something like Pikmin 5 is currently in development and might release soon, quote unquote. And I was like, oh, bro, like y'all are just like
Nah,
pulling.
I think I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about. It's
that's what I'm
fine.
saying. Yeah,
I think it's like a reference to like when Miyamoto was like, it's almost done.
yeah, and it was like a joke. Yeah, and
Oh
I was like,
yeah.
oh God, you guys are
I
like pulling the leg here.
yeah, I guess with that being said, what would you change for like a fifth one? What would you want to see? What would you add?
For a
Any
fifth
idea?
one,
Any idea?
I feel like even though like well actually no, I was gonna say they should add a second captain again, but Ochi was the second captain, so like, it's kind of like throws that idea out of the window.
Hmm.
Um I know that Olimar being in every single Pikmin game, it makes sense because, obviously he's like the Mario of like the, you know,
Yeah, he's like the main character. He's like the face of the series. Yeah.
yeah. Um like I feel like maybe at least one Pikmin game where Olimar is not involved, like at all. Like
Hmm.
there's no like maybe there's like notes left behind by him or something. Because like obviously like three, the way in three was introduced was like it seemed like we were just gonna have like new characters show up and that was kind of it. But like yeah, they keep pushing like the Olimar and Louis thing, and that is fine. But I feel like they should expand it more, you know what I mean? So it's not just, oh, we have to like rescue Olimar again, or we should have like another thing where it's Olimar and like it's a side story or whatever. I feel like maybe they should do is like, maybe it should just be like Olimar left notes behind, and you're this character that got crash landed on here, but like instead of like finding just ship pieces, you need to get like treasure pieces now, and you need to get like you discover new Pikmin and like you write down the new Pikmin in your little log and like um maybe like you know how like there's that dog that we see with that leafling dude. Maybe like you run into that dog or something. Like I think it would be cool if they went in like a different direction. That's what I'm getting at basically. Like
Yeah,
it's a
it's
continuation.
yeah, it's just kind of difficult, you know what I mean? Because like you said, Olimar is kind of like the face of the game. So it's like, how do you not involve him? I guess it is kind of
Hmm.
awkward, you know what I mean? And then obviously they are always adding new Pikmin every game anyway, so it doesn't sound like it's like that. It's like
Yeah,
that sounds kind of like obvious. So yeah, I guess it's one
but
of
you
those
know what
things
I
where
mean? Like
I guess it's a bit difficult to like kind of like what can you do because I guess the series is so specific that like you can't really change too much, but then maybe wouldn't really be Pikmin anymore. You know what I mean? Like what can
yeah,
you really do? Just like I guess add some new stuff here and there. I don't know. I guess I kind of see what you mean. It is kind of a bit like what could they really do? I guess, but yeah, maybe just
yeah.
if it works, it works. Like different characters and more new Pikmin, different abilities, different areas, that sort of thing. I guess. You know.
Yeah.
Alrighty, cool, cool,
Um,
cool. And then with Pikmin 4 out of the well, it's not out of the way. I mean, you're still playing it, but was that that was the only
that's
thing you did this week, right?
yeah, yeah.
All right, cool, cool, cool. Sounds good. In that case, jumping over to my week, it's gonna be pretty simple. Um, one thing that I did that, as I had mentioned at the beginning, I was gonna save it for talk about it here because I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit too. if you guys remember last week, I said, "Oh, there's gonna be a Pokemon Presents," and we were speculating what it could be. We were like, "Oh my god, I wonder what it's so interesting because like the neon background and the purple and the glitchiness and like it's about time for something big for Pokemon because we know there's like the DLC coming out for Scarlet and Violet, but like what else is there, right?" Well,
Hmm.
I sat down ready to, I actually had the time. So I sat down ready to record a reaction slash discussion on the presents. And I was super pissed that I wasted my damn time because the presents was like 90% stuff we already like knew.
Hmm.
I was so pissed. Like, they literally should not have wasted our damn time with like a presents. They should have just done like updates on like YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Because it was
Honestly,
just
yeah.
because literally it's like, okay, updates on the mobile stuff, which they always do. I mean, I don't blame them. I know, a lot of people play the game, so they do that. So that's fine. But like half of it was like, here's the updates on all the mobile stuff. Then here is, talking about like the next like Nintendo, I'm sorry, Nintendo, the next Pokemon, championship or whatever, because they always have like those competitions.
Hmm.
Then, Pokemon Go stuff. Then it was kind of cool because, somewhere around there, they did talk about some new animated stuff, which that part was kind of cool. Like, oh, there's going to be like a little mini series that's about kids that are like in like a school like club where they're playing the Pokemon game, which was kind of cool. So I was like, oh, that's
Hmm.
kind of interesting. That's like a little anime, animated series about kids like playing the card game. That's kind of cool. And then as well as I think they said there was going to be like a little animated thing about like, oh, these are like students from, Paldea or whatever. Like, okay, that's
Hmm.
kind of cool little miniseries. That was kind of a little fun announcement as well. And then, oh, Mew and Mewtwo are coming to Scarlet and Violet. You can get Mew like using a code, and Mewtwo's gonna be like in a raid. Like, okay, that's fine. But then it's like, here's Detective Pikachu returns or whatever again. And I swear it was like we knew this already. And like it wasn't that exciting. It was just like the game comes out like in a month or whatever, doesn't it? Like September? When does it come out? I don't remember. But like it comes out
Yeah.
soon. It wasn't even like that exciting. It's just like we're solving mysteries again. Wow. Not even anything like we're solving mysteries in. Okay. And we already knew about Detective Pikachu because you had them in the general direct. And then they spent like the whole like those like I don't remember how many time like minutes left, like 8 minutes left, right? And they start talking about the
Yeah.
DLC. And I'm like, okay, I guess they're gonna talk about the DLC again, but that's fine. Because maybe they'll have like that one like stinger, that big announcement at the end. Literally, like they're just going over all the stupid DLC again. That there's gonna be a night festival, and oh look, there's the Pokemon running around with the mask or whatever. And the second DLC, and blah blah blah. It's like the little tournament inside that like disc shaped other school. I don't even know what it is. It's like like a stadium or whatever. And I'm like, when it was like 5 minutes in, and they were like, okay, now we're gonna talk about like the second one. I literally just like turned it off. I'm like, no, I didn't turn it off. I skipped like the end to see if there was anything else. There wasn't, and I was like, wow. Like they kind of said there's gonna be like some new Pokemon transformations, like some new versions, I guess. But like again, like 90% of this was just updates and like stuff we already knew about. Like them just talking about all the stuff they talked about in like the general direct. Plus, like, okay, there's some new Pokemon variations. I guess that's kind of cool, but like, I still don't get what was up with like the neon purple and the glitchiness and stuff. Like, it just
Yeah.
felt
I
like
don't
a
know if it
huge
was
waste of
because,
time. I just don't get it. Like, I'm sorry, they could have done these updates. Literally, they were not that big. They could have done these through like YouTube little clips or like tweets or whatever. Like, there was nothing that was like, oh my God, I'm so glad they we have this news we didn't have before. It's like you talked about the DLC more. You talked about all your mobile stuff again. You talked about Detective Pikachu, which we already know is coming out. Like, where was the news? Where was like the big, oh, that was really important. Like, I am glad you announced that. There was nothing.
yeah.
So that's one thing I did during the week. And I was so mad that I set the time aside, woke up early to watch the damn direct. That pissed me off. So that was lame, but if you're into the mobile games or you are excited about the DLC or whatever, don't let my stuff, kill your vibe. Go for it. Go watch the trailer if you haven't watched it. Go watch the presents. Just personally, I was really disappointed and I feel like I wasted my time, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I did, I was gonna watch an anime, didn't quite have the time, so I'll probably save that for next week. We'll see how that goes. What I did watch though is there's this weird little comic. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Strange Planet, where it has these like little like blue aliens with big eyes. Is that sound familiar?
Sort of.
Yeah, where there's like these aliens with blue eyes. It's very common for there to be like at least two of them, like on screen, like in the comic talking to each other. And it's like the best way to explain it, it's almost like if like these aliens are trying like know about human culture, and it's kind of like how
Yeah.
they interpret it. Like they say stuff very strangely and like very literal. And that's kind of like where the humor is, because it's just like kind of like weird. You know what I mean? Like for
Yeah.
instance, I have one of the little comics in front of me to read it to you, right? Like it has like a four little panel comic. And it's like one of
Yeah.
the little aliens is in bed. It's supposed to be like the child. And the other one's like the parent, right? And they have like a little glass of water.
Hmm.
And like the little alien in the bed is like, will the magical mouth stone being visit tonight? Like that's how they talk, right? Like just like Tooth Fairy. So it's like they know
Hmm.
about like our customs, but they like express it in their own weird way. So yeah, the little dude's like,
Yeah.
will the magical mouth stone being visit tonight? And the parent says yes, to silently purchase your dead mouth stone, like
Huh.
to buy your tooth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
the little alien's like, I hope I get a lot. And the
I like
parent's
the
like,
one.
you'll get what market demands. Like I don't know, it's
Damn.
weird. It's like quirky. It's weird. It's just like these little weird aliens, you know, dealing with like human customs and stuff. But because they talk very literal and very like strange, it's like really weird. That's where like the humor comes in, I guess. Then hold
Hmm.
on, there's another one. Let me see. I just had it. Where was the other one? Oh, it's just a two panel comic. One little alien's cooking, and the other one's like sitting like off screen, almost off screen. And it's like I am heating the sustenance, like I guess they're cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you see like the food's on fires, which is smoke. And it says like I have overheated the sustenance.
Huh.
So I don't know. It's just supposed to be quirky. It's supposed to be weird. It makes sense because
Yeah.
little online comics are kind of like that. Because they make so many of them. They're just like weird little ideas. They're supposed to be kind of quirky. One more. It's two little aliens again. They're looking at a cat, and they have the cat's drinking from a little glass of water. And the alien says the creature seeks out immediate hydration. And then the other one says, I have emptied the cylinder. It will now seek liquid elsewhere. Then the cat in the third one, it like breaks the glass and like throws it over. And the little alien says the creature is erratic. And the other one says it obeys only itself. Like they're just commenting
Yeah.
on how cats are weird, I don't know. It's quirky. It's just kind of, the humor's not gonna be for everyone. Some people are just gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole point is the whole reason I bring
Huh.
up the Strange Planet little comic is because they
Yeah.
actually is made a Apple Plus little TV series about it, a little online TV show or whatever.
Nice.
And there's 3 episodes out so far. They're like between like 20 to 25 minutes, something like that. And it's basically about these aliens. And it's about how it's like on their planet. And it's about like these little recurring characters and just like the weird little adventures they have. You know what I mean? And so like the
Yeah.
first one is called Flying Machine, and it has to do with like, the little aliens and how they're traveling, by airplane. One of the characters we follow, they're like an air stewardess or whatever, and how she gets like
Yeah.
a promotion. And it's all about how like because she's like in charge of her other stewardesses or whatever, how they start treating her like different, you know what I mean? And then, like I
Yeah.
said, they have like the weird jokes of like they call it the flying machine, and instead of like a stewardess, they're called like the I think it was like the comfort supervisor. And then it's about how like when they like offer people snacks, they go like here's little, I think they do call it snacks, but then it's like instead of a pillow, they call it like a comfort rectangle. And then with the
Yeah.
alcohol, how they always give like alcohol on planes. They're like, would you like some mild poison?
Damn.
And so it's just like stupid stuff like that. It's just supposed to be quirky where like the stewardess, like, there's a guy pressing a button and he's all uncomfortable. And he's like, I have many discomforts. And then she's like, what can I help you with? And he's like, like he's like cold. So she's like, you are able to turn off the blowing air. He's like, but I don't want to turn it off, but I still, am uncomfortable. So she gives him like a blanket. And he says he's hungry. So she gives him a snack. And he says that he's, I don't know, like tired. So she gives them the little the comfort rectangle. Just dumb stuff like that, right? So the first story has to do with, like the stewardess, and it has to do with this like band breaking up and like the two stories that converge when they're on the plane. Then the second one had to do with like there's this little alien, he's with his sister at a restaurant, and there's like this like server there he likes. And so he like volunteers to take care of her cat or whatever. And like that's like a whole story because he's like allergic to the cat, blah, blah, blah. And then the third one has to do with how that same server at that restaurant, it focuses more on the restaurant, how there's this guy that moved to town and how he's like gets hired at the restaurant. And there's gonna be like an eclipse, which they call like the double, what the fuck do they call it? The double moon darkness. I don't remember what they called it. It was something weird like that. And it's about how like, oh, they're preparing for that. There's gonna be like a festival and just like weird humor about, people who are like into astrology and a bunch of stuff. Like weird humor about like the aliens, talking about like astrology, like stuff in their terms and just all sorts of strange stuff. I'm telling you, it's just supposed to be quirky because like the way they talk, and like for instance, like when someone says, like for instead of saying thanks, they say, like many welcomes or something like that. And and then like the way they talk is like really blunt, where they'll be like, "You're not very good at your job," and their person's like, like many welcomes for your honesty. Just dumb stuff like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's not gonna be for everybody. It's obviously like very like it's a very quirky, very like absurdist humor and like stuff like that. But I watched the first 3 episodes. I thought they were fine. I think if you've enjoyed that little comic, if you like that kind of like absurd humor, I think you'll like it. But it's always not going to be for everybody. Like I can already tell because the humor is like really weird. It's really out there. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you've ever seen that little comic and enjoyed it, I think you'll like it. And yeah, so far there's 3 episodes out. So I don't know how many episodes there's going to be, but I mean, I guess good for the guy who created this little comic. The fact that it got picked up as a little animated series, good for him. That's kind of cool. So,
Nice.
And yeah, that was it for my week. Pretty short week, but like I said, I was just mostly busy with, again, grinding for like the Persona game, waiting on my package that never arrived, wasting my damn time trying to do the Pokemon Presents, which didn't, work out. As well as, catching up on anime I've already talked about, staying up to date. So, the week felt like it went by really fast, All right, cool. Jumping over to the news. Usually we have like 2 or 3 news stories. This is going to be a week where we have 5 news stories, all of them gaming. But as you can see, they're going to be pretty quick because some of them are like, most of them are updates, so they're just like little announcements. So I don't think it's gonna take too long. We'll probably like blow through them. But yeah, it all has to do with the video games. Like I said, it was just a very big video game week. I don't know why. It just came out of nowhere. But the first news story is an update to something we talked about barely like a week or 2 ago. As the article title states, Red Dead Redemption coming to PS4 and Switch on August 17th. So we had talked about how, sounds like about like by the time this comes out, it'll be like that same week, I think, or like, it's really close by. So we had talked about this, of course. We're like, there's a rumor there's going to be some sort of a Red Dead Redemption project. Will it be like a remaster? Probably not a remake. I think that'll be too much work, obviously. But it's going to be a remaster. Is it going to be just like a port? What's going to happen? Blah blah blah. And everyone was expecting that, like, okay, even if it's a port, it's coming to all systems, right? Like PS5, PC. Like everyone's expecting to come to everything. But for some strange reason, no, it's only coming to PS4 and Switch. So no Xbox systems, no PC. Very strange choice. And then from
Yeah,
what we
very
could
strange.
tell, it's not even like a remaster. It's not even like it looks like it's enhanced or anything. It looks like it's literally just a port.
Weird.
Yeah, because if you read like the way it's they talk about it, it says that's the classic Red Dead Redemption and the Undead Nightmare, like DLC, expansion, whatever you call that thing.
Hmm.
But that's it.
That's super
Like
weird.
there's no talk about like it's an enhanced port that's gonna be like up to like the 60 frames per second and like the 4K, like none of that. And so
That
it's
is
so
super.
weird because like why are you not putting it on the latest systems? Why are you putting it
Hmm.
on the PS4, which is last gen? And well, I mean, Switch, I understand because like everything's coming to Switch, right? So like that's cool, but it's weird. Only PS4 and Switch.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad too because the game's gonna be $50.
Hmm.
So I mean, it is cool. At least it's like the full, game plus like the American Nightmare thing. Like, okay, that's like a cool package, but like $50 is a lot. Why not like at least 40, 30? I guess it made 40 at most, but I don't know. So all I know is a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are also mad that, about the price. They're mad it's not coming to all systems. Uh I don't know. And that's really weird too, because it's like, okay, digital edition like this week, and then physical edition until October 13th. Like, why that big
Damn.
delay? Like, why not at the same time then? Like, why not? Like, it just seems
Yeah,
very
that's
random.
super
It
odd.
seems very random. It really seems like people feel like Rockstar is literally just like, you know, we need some more money. We need to print like we need something to like tide some time until GTA 6. Let's even more money. Like they're not already making a whole shit ton from GTA 5 online. Let's just throw something out there and see if we can make some quick cash. That's what it literally feels like to a lot of people, and a lot of
That
people are
literally is what
upset.
it seems. Yeah.
So very, very strange. I mean, well, it's still cool, I guess, because like, okay, if you don't feel like pulling out like your old system, I mean, at least it's on PS4, I guess, and especially Switch. That's like probably the coolest thing because portable, all that good stuff. Such just such a weird decision. Like it's weird. Like I don't get it. People aren't happy with it. Just very, very weird.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't get it. I don't know. Moving on, the next news story is also a bit of an update. So it says Persona 5, the Phantom X Awakening test begins August 18. So once again, we talked about this. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was at this point. I mean, time goes by so quick. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, what? No, that was like 5 months ago. I don't think it
It
was that
probably
much, but
was.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised. But we talked about this before, how there was going to be like this spin off to Persona 5, where it's actually like a weird Chinese mobile game, which is really weird. And people are like really confused because they're like, so it's a mobile game, but it's like not even by Atlas. It's like by another studio. Weird situation, remember? But all the same, I said that, I wouldn't mind playing it if I'm able to. I'm always down for more Persona. I talked about that, blah, blah, blah. So since
Yeah,
then, we've gotten like more trailers and like screenshots and character reveals, that sort of thing. And as the news article states, the title, apparently there's going to be a like beta. They always have like a little beta, right, to like test out the game or whatever.
yeah,
On August 18. The only bad thing is that it does seem to be only confirmed for China. So it's one of those
yeah.
things where like I
Oh
don't know,
boy.
I don't know if it's possible to like maybe play it if you use like a VPN or something. Like try to figure it
Probably.
out. But I don't know, because then again, China's so protective like their own internet services and stuff. Maybe it's not.
Hmm.
Maybe like downloading the game isn't even possible, even if you use the VPN. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm curious if anyone's actually been able to like outside of China like check it out. But regardless, though, even though it is like a very weird thing, even though I'm not really sure what to expect of it, because it is weird, like it's Chinese exclusive at the moment, and it is like a phone game, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. I still really want to check it out. I still really hope that it does get like a wider release or something, or like it is
Hmm.
possible to play like through a VPN or like I don't know what. At the very least, if it's not possible, at some point I would like to like maybe watch like a playthrough online, maybe with a translation or something. Because I'm still really curious to see how this works. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have just like
Yeah.
written this game off. They're like, "Oh, it's mobile trash," and blah blah blah. I'm still curious, honestly. I still really want to know more. So personally, I'm still kind of invested. I still would like to know more about it. I would even, like I said, probably even check out like a, you know, if I have to, like a playthrough like online, you know, translate or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen because it is in beta mode. So we'll have to see if we ever get more information or what's happening with this game, you know. But from what I've
Hmm.
seen, I think it looks pretty cool, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to the next news story. Yeah. So a lot of people had wondered, okay, we got two games of South Park. Both were like, you know, RPGs. They're pretty fun. It's been a while since the last South Park game, and they have
It
mentioned
has.
the creators had mentioned that supposedly they're working on something else. When is that coming? Well, thanks to this news story, we have a little more information. South Park Snow Day announced for PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC, and it seems to be coming out sometime in 2024.
Damn.
So yeah, so today, you know, as of recording this, was it today? It might have been yesterday. Point is, it was really fairly recently. This is like a really brand new news story. THQ Nordic, which they've done all sorts of stuff. You know, THQ ever since they became, you know, they got bought out. They became THQ Nordic. They've done a lot, of, you know, a lot of games here and there. And
Yeah.
basically, yeah, they put out a trailer that it shows, you know, it's like a reveal trailer where it shows, you know, the characters like in 3D. So that's really different too, because everything else had been like the show, like, you know, like it looked like, you know, like hand drawn or like 2D. It's like a 3D show, you know, 3D models and everything. And it shows, you know, Cartman and he's like on top of a car or whatever, and it's snowing, and he's all excited. He's saying it's like the best day ever or whatever. And they're like, oh no, there's just like fire raining down from the sky. It looks like there's like a huge bunch of bullshit going on. I don't know what the hell like is happening. And there's all these kids just fighting. And apparently, like that's what it says in the game, that the whole point is that it's gonna be like a co-op multiplayer thing. It looks to me like I don't think it's gonna be an RPG anymore. At least from what I can tell, it looks like it's
Yeah.
gonna be like an action, you know, adventure sort of, you know, thing. Where yeah, it just
Hmm.
says to like join the main four kids. Plus, they also do say like, oh, new kid, it's snowing, whatever, you know, it's a snow day. New kid is what they call like the player character for like the other two games.
Hmm.
So it looks like it's gonna be like you once again you'll get to like create your own character, and you're gonna join up with, you know, like the kids from South Park, and it's gonna be a 3D adventure where it's like a snow day, and I don't know what in the hell you're doing, but you're like fighting all these other kids. So I don't know. It remains to be seen like what's gonna happen, but it's just kind of cool that they're back. There's gonna be another game. They're taking like a big, you know, leap by making it in 3D. And yeah, like I said, it looks like it's not going to be an RPG, at least from what I can tell. It looks like it's going to be like more like action, you know, based or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
don't know,
It sounds
pretty,
pretty lit.
yeah, some pretty cool stuff. That's all we know for now, but like, okay, pretty cool that they keep making the games, and the other two were pretty good. So the fact that they're still dedicating themselves to like doing more with the series, that's pretty cool, you know? So there you go. All right, moving on. Like I said, we're just blowing through these. The next one is another one of those updates. Once again, it's something we talked about a while back. So we have, you know, some more information. So as the title of the article states, Lollipop Chainsaw remake titled Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP delayed to summer 2024. So we had talked about this
Damn.
before. There was be some sort of a remake. It's really weird though, because I believe Grasshopper isn't involved this time. They're the ones who made it like the first time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so I think Suda 51 doesn't even have like input or whatever this time, which is like really weird. But regardless, you know, we knew it was coming, whatever. And so we have some more information that yeah, it's gonna be called Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP. I think that's a cool name. That's pretty cool. And they haven't said what systems for or anything, but we do know that's going to be 2024. And it seems like the reason it says here, it says it got delayed for the best possible quality experience. I mean, at least it sounds positive. It sounds like it's because they want to work on it more, like make sure, I guess, like work out to just like perfect it. So hopefully
Hmm.
it's a good thing. Hopefully it's not like, oh, the game's having trouble, or hopefully it is because they're just they just want to like polish it up. That's how I would hope it. That's how I would hope.
Hmm.
But I guess it remains to be seen. But at least now we know that it's not coming this year. Because I was wondering like if it was coming this year, like when, you know what I mean? Because like the year's getting, it's advancing pretty quickly. It's gonna come out in next summer, so it's like okay,
Oh,
whatever.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just wondering what they'll change, because I really like the original game, but I gotta admit it was like very linear, and there was some like issues here and there that I could see. Like, so there's some stuff that I would definitely like them to like update and stuff. So we'll have
Yeah.
to wait and see if it's coming out summer next year, maybe by like this, end of the year or beginning of next year. Hopefully we get some sort of like trailer and look at the gameplay and stuff to see what we can expect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's a game that I really, really enjoyed. And yeah, it's something I had even thought about, like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to play on the channel. But at this point, I'm kind of holding off because, I don't feel like, having to pull out like a PS3 or something to play it. So at this point, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind waiting for like the remake and playing that and then, talking about like how the game used to be, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna, keep my fingers crossed that the game does well, comes out good, and about a year away. So there you go.
Yeah.
And finally, the last news story. This is a really interesting one. This felt like it kind of just came out of nowhere. Like I didn't even know this was a thing, but it was really cool. And once again, it's another THQ Nordic thing. So I don't know if they had like a little press conference or what, but it seems like there was a lot of like games coming from them out of nowhere. But as the title of this last article states, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin announced for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. And it's really interesting because I'm like, okay, what is this? What is the TMNT: The Last Ronin? And then if you look at the line after, like the little subtitle or whatever, it says the official video game adaptation of the best-selling comic. So apparently it is based on an actual comic because everyone know. I mean, I don't know how many people know.
Yeah, I
Originally,
knew it was a comic. Yeah.
yeah, originally, TMNT was based on a comic. It was actually a really violent one. It was
Hmm.
really crazy how different it was until like they like, made it more of like a kids, like comedy show, toned it down or whatever. But
Hmm.
they're having comics here and there. And I guess at some point they made this comic called The Last Ronin. And yeah, it's really crazy because if you look at the trailer, it looks very like mature. And it looks
Hmm.
like it's only like a teaser trailer, so they don't like show too much, right? But it does look very like the atmosphere looks like very somber, looks very mature, etc. And it's really cool because I'm gonna read the little like synopsis. It says, "Who is the last Ronin? In a future battle-ravaged New York City, a lone surviving turtle embarks on a seemingly hopeless mission, seeking justice for the family he lost." From the minds of the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and based on the best-selling comic book event by Eastman, Waltz, Bishop Delgado, and the Escorza brothers, the official video game adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. So yeah, it looks like this is gonna
Yeah.
like be like a legit action game that's like really like serious. Like it's so interesting because like
Hmm.
apart from like those comics I'm talking about, everything else TMNT based has been usually pretty lighthearted. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like even all of the games are like very like like there's a lot of like characters and they're like really bright usually, and it's like big emphasis on like the brothers and switching between them and stuff. And here it's like, no, you're gonna play as one turtle. We don't it doesn't say who it is. I'm guessing if you've
Hmm.
read the comic, maybe it tells you, but I think it's best not to spoil yourself, I guess. But
Yeah.
one of them is the survivor because I guess everyone else is dead, and it's about him fighting in this like crazy like dystopian New York to like avenge his family. And it's just so weird. It's just that's such an interesting premise, but it is not something I expected from the Ninja Turtles, and especially as like this like action game. Like I said, if you look at like the atmosphere of like the trailer and like how it's kind of like mostly like black and white, like really like monochrome. It looks like really serious. It's just like this is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I would expect, you know what I mean? Like it's really like,
Yeah.
huh. So I'm really interested in this. The bad thing is it just says in development, unlike everything else
Oh,
we've
that does
talked.
suck.
Yeah, unlike everything else we've talked about. You know how like some stuff is coming out like within like the next couple weeks. The other stuff I talked about, okay, we know it's 2024 somewhere. This one just says it's in development and there's no date yet for when it's coming out.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so that's kind of
Man.
disappointing. You know what I mean? But at the very least, it looks really interesting. I'm really
Hmm.
like,
That's
wow, you know, like already then that's really cool. I really want to see how this works because like I don't know, it's just very interesting. I don't know, like really surprised me. And I'm like, I really want to know what happens.
me too, bro.
Yeah, so pretty cool. So I'm excited for that. It's just one of those things we'll have to keep in mind though, because we don't know when we're gonna get more information. So yeah, you know, but pretty cool. I'm actually kind of thinking too,
Yeah,
maybe I prepare for it. Maybe I might even like try track down that comic. That might be kind of fun, you know?
you should read it, bro.
Yeah, the only thing is like then, you know, you kind of like it's kind of like reading the manga before watching the anime. It's kind of like, oh, but then I know kind of everything that's coming though. You know what I mean?
That is true.
But I don't know. It's always kind of cool to go to the original source material though, and then kind of seeing how it gets adapted. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I definitely have the time. So I'm wondering, you know, maybe I'll track it down. We'll see what happens, you know. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, like I said, that just really surprised me. And I just think I hope it doesn't get canceled. Like I really hope that it gets made and I hope it goes well.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, that is it for the news. Like I said, we kind of just rushed through it because there wasn't a lot there. It was mostly just announcements and you know updates and stuff. So pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys, you know, are excited for any one of these projects that we talked about. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the news. So check out the links in the description below. You can read them for yourself. And yeah, we're going to move on to the topic of the week now.
Yeah.
All right. So the topic of the week for this week, I'm really excited. This is a game that I love. I would probably say it's one of my favorites. And so I just thought it'd be really fun to share it. I don't know. It just felt like it was like the right time, I guess. So my topic of the week, the thing that I'm recommending that people check out, I really hope people do, is Earthbound, the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, that's a pretty
So
good game. Yeah.
yeah, because I was thinking of talking about like the whole Mother series in general, but I'm like, nah, we can
Yeah.
maybe talk about the other games, you know, at different times. I'm like, I'll just stick to like Earthbound, which is the second one. So for anyone who
Hmm.
doesn't know, should I clarify? So there's this series that it sucks. It's been long dormant at this point, but there's this Nintendo series. If you ever played Smash Bros, you've seen NES, you've seen Lucas, all that stuff. They're from a series called Mother. And in Japan, it is called Mother, you know, Mother 1, 2, 3. And here in, outside of Japan, it's called Earthbound. So it's weird where like they kind of repurposed it. So that the first one is called Earthbound Beginnings. The second one is called Earthbound. And then they haven't really done anything with, you know, Mother 3. But I've heard they might, you know, at some point call it Earthbound 2, you know, kind of weird.
Hmm.
But yeah, Mother 2, also known as Earthbound, is part of the bigger Mother series. And it's this really interesting JRPG that I just really love it because it is just like so unique, is like the best way to explain it. It's came out for the Super Nintendo. In Japan, it came out in 1994, and then it came out in America about a year later. And
Hmm.
it's this game that's really interesting because yes, it is a JRPG, but it's very like based on Western culture, which is really interesting.
Hmm.
Like basically the little main story, you know, you can play for yourself. I'm not gonna get too into it. Although even then, it's not like there's really spoilers, you know, it's one of those, I don't know how to explain it, but the point is, basically he plays this kid named Ness. And he is living in this like parody of America. that's called, Eagle Land, and he lives in a little town called On It. And he is this kid that wears, a little striped shirt, little baseball cap, and he loves, I don't know, just doing like American things. He likes eating his burgers and steak and playing baseball and, stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And basically the story starts where a meteor, crashes into On It, and basically, it wakes the family up, and Ness gets dressed, and he's gonna go, investigate to see what happened. So he grabs his trusty bat, because that's like the weapon he uses, a bat, and he's gonna go investigate. And so he sets off with his two neighbors. No, it's one neighbor actually. He sets off with his next door neighbor, Pokey, Pokey Minch, which is like this total brat kid, and his dog. And they set out that they're gonna go see what's up with like the comet or whatever. And basically, from the comet, there's like this little alien that looks like a little fly or whatever. And his name's Buzz Buzz. And he has like this prophecy about how like, oh, Ness is the chosen one, and he needs to like defeat the Starmen, which are like these like alien invaders, and he needs to stop 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿.
Hmm.
And basically, 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿 is like this like embodiment of evil, where he's like this alien conqueror, that he's like evil himself, where like all the stuff that you fight, like all of the enemies, like, it's anything from like animals to people or whatever. The reason you're fighting them is because like they're basically corrupted by like his like influence, and he manipulates the darkness in their hearts to like have them turn on you. And so basically it starts off where like, yes, it's, Ness, and he's the chosen one, and he's to set off on his journey to collect, his other members of the chosen four. That way they can fight 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿. And what makes the game so interesting, as I already kind of like alluded to earlier and like kind of discussed, is that it is very like American based though. It has like it's very based on Western culture, and it's also very like present day instead of other JRPGs which like are in the
Hmm.
past or like a fantasy. It's crazy
It's
because
more
everything,
modern.
it's more modern. It's like so crazy. So for instance, the four members of our group, we start off as Ness, and the other members he collects are Paula, Jeff, and Pooh. Which, yes, the
Hmm.
poor boy's name is Pooh. I don't know. And for instance, Ness fights with a baseball bat. So along the way, you can get different baseball bats for him to fight with. I mean, Paula, she uses a frying pan. Jeff, because he's like a little
Hmm.
scientist guy, he uses like little laser guns and stuff and bottle rockets. And then Pooh, because he is like a martial artist and stuff, he does use actual swords. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that's like this group of kids using these like really unconventional weapons. And then because it's like a modern setting, for instance, you don't heal using potions and elixirs and stuff.
Hmm.
You eat pizza and
Yeah.
burgers, and you stay instead of staying like in an inn, you stay like in an actual hotel. And
Yeah.
instead of paying with like gold or like weird currency, you literally
It's US
have
dollars.
yeah, you use like an actual, like Ness has an actual like debit card. Like you go to the ATM to like manage your money. And to save, you call your dad on the phone, and he like saves your progress. And every so often he deposits money into like Ness's account.
Yeah.
And then like
That's
if
crazy.
you like get sick, like somebody dies, you go to like the church. No, you go to the hospital to revive them instead of like a church, for instance.
Hmm.
And like if you get like, poisoned, you go to see like the doctor, and he treats you and stuff like that. It's like so funny because you're so used to playing RPGs where it's always like an inn. It's always about, like I said, potions and elixirs, and no, it's like super like present day things. And then like the
Yeah.
weapons you use are like super unconventional. And like it's just so interesting. I love it. And then it's so cool because not only do the kids use like their melee weapons, but three out of the four of them, they have like telekinetic powers. And so they use
Hmm.
like pyrokinesis and like thunder and all sorts of other, abilities that we're not really sure like what they are. Like, both offense and defense and healing. And so it's really fun, you like using that instead of like magic. And it's just like this really interesting game where you start off as Ness and you're visiting all these different, towns and stuff around Eagleland, and you're collecting your team and you're fighting all these like evil entities and stuff. And it's just such a fun adventure. And it just feels so interesting because, like I said, it's so unconventional the way you play it. And it's so cool too, because part of it very much feels like almost like a big like road trip with these kids wandering around fighting evil and just like hanging out and like bonding. But
Mm-hmm.
because I mentioned there's like this evil that like corrupts everything, like as you progress, the game just it has like a darkness to it too, though. So it feels
Yeah,
very lighthearted at times, but at the same
but it's
time,
very dark.
the thing you're fighting is very serious, though. And that's what makes it so
Mm-hmm.
interesting, that balance. Because you're literally fighting this entity that's evil itself and it's corrupting people. And there's like a point where you even have to like face the darkness like within and all this like crazy stuff. And so it's just such
Yeah.
an interesting game. And I love it though, because like the art style is so unique, the powers are unique. Like I said, like everything is like so like westernized, so it's really interesting. And then like even the fighting is really unique because I love the not like many RPGs do this. It's probably like the first game I can think of, and then I saw it later in other stuff like like Persona, for instance, where it's like, oh, let's say the first area you're in, right? You're fighting like
Mm.
dogs and snakes, right? And when you're first fighting
Yeah.
them, because you're so low leveled, it's an actual fight, right? Like it takes a while to like actually fight them and stuff. Later,
Mm-hmm.
when you're like really overpowered, it's really cool because instead of like doing the little thing where like, okay, you touch the enemy or it touches you and it goes to the battle screen, it'll skip that and you'll just get the XP automatically. And I
Yeah.
and I
Mm-hmm.
love that because that's something I hate about Pokemon and like other RPGs. I hate that some of these games don't respect your time. Cause like, dude, I am level like 50 and I'm fighting an enemy that's level 5. There's no way I'm not gonna win. It only takes like a hit to like kill the enemy. Why should I have to sit here and transition to the battle screen and have to waste my time pressing like the damn go ahead and attack, watch the animation, you kill the enemy, go back to the overworld. You got the like, why should I waste my time with that? If it's obvious I'm gonna win the
Exactly. Yeah.
battle. And I love that this game doesn't waste your damn time. It respects your time where it's like, no, if you're fighting an enemy where it's super obvious you're gonna win, then it just skips that and it says, here's the XP, and you move on. And I love that. I love that. I love that it respects your time. And I think the first game I can think of, I mean, I might be wrong, but I think the first
Mm-hmm.
game I can think of that did that, because it's a Super Nintendo game. It's like from like so many years ago. It's the first game I can think of that
Mm-hmm.
did that. And it's only like one of a few. Like the only other game I can think of that really does that, it's like the Persona like 5, I think does that. I don't think the other personas even do that. And like that's it. I can't even think of another game that does that, honestly.
That's huh.
Like
That is
very
pretty
few, like
interesting.
very few games do that. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's something that I hate about Pokemon, where it's like if I'm just trying to grind to get stupid experience, why do I have to sit there and look at the little battle animation and click what move I want to use and like just give me the damn XP? It's pretty obvious I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
freaking beat the enemy. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what game? Oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Speaking of Pokemon, the new games do kind of do that. Where
Mm-hmm. They kind of do.
if you let your Pokemon loose by itself, it'll come back. It'll gain the XP by itself. But it's still different though, because it's when the Pokemon is roaming around by itself. If you like do a battle, it still does the thing though, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of does what I'm talking about. Funny enough, actually. And then I like that it does the thing, kind of like a lot of other games. Although that isn't that unique, but I still think it's kind of cool where it does the thing where it's like, if you approach the enemy from behind, you like to attack first. Then if they get you from behind, they attack you first. You're at a disadvantage. Like I've always enjoyed that from RPGs. I think that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like that part isn't that unique, but I do think that's really interesting. And then the other thing that I really like, that's another unique thing once again, I think it's so cool that it uses your health. It's like a little odometer.
Mm-hmm.
So like let's say you have 300 HP and the
Yeah.
enemy attacks you for, I don't know, let's say exactly those 300 HP. what's really cool is then other games, the moment you get hit for like those 300, it just like pops to 0 and you die. No chance to heal or anything, right? It's like, no, you can only heal if like it's at like 1 HP or more, right? What's
Hmm.
really cool about this game that's super unique that I wish other games would do is, let's say you have 300 HP, you get hit for 300 HP exactly, so it should be a 0. It starts ticking down, like your health starts like ticking down, and if you're able to like heal yourself before it reaches that 0, you save yourself, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a game do that, so that's really cool. So like that, let's say that like, oh man, it really sucks that like, the enemy used an attack that hit the whole party. We should all be dead. It's like, well, as long as you're able to like, use the right person and use the right spell or the right item before the energy ticks down all the way, you're able to like save yourself. And I think that's really cool because that's a really interesting gimmick that I've never seen, again, other games do. So that is very, very cool. So I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of people complain about how they think that Earthbound, like the mechanics, they say the game is annoying to play
Oh
and that
my
it feels,
God.
yeah, I don't get it. I've seen a lot of people say that it feels annoying, it's really outdated, and that the battle system is really weird. I do not agree. I think the battle system is really unique, and I think it's one of those things where it's like it even does some things that, like I said, I feel like a lot of like the odometer thing. I don't think I've ever seen another game do. And then like even like the thing where it respects your time and just gives you the XP if you're like high enough. I haven't seen a lot of games do that. So like I think it has
Same.
a really good battle system, honestly.
Same.
Yeah. So I think the battle system's good. I think the music's really good. The visuals are really good for like the time, of the SNES. I think the story is really well written, like I said, where it's like, damn, it's like this adventure of like the chosen ones and fighting evil, but like it's like a good mix of like lighthearted with like really dark, which is really cool. Um, I don't know. I just think it's like it's one of my favorite games. I just think it's really well done. Like I don't even know what else I could like really say. It's just like so well done. It's like so iconic. And like even the final battle where you fight 𝐦𝐤𝐬 is so interesting because like the way you defeat him is very unique too. Like it does like a very unique
Hmm.
thing. I don't want to spoil for anyone who hasn't played it. And like, I don't know, man. It's just such a fun game. Like it has like a really like sense of adventure, which is really cool. But it also has like those dark moments that really make it feel like, okay, it's serious. Like you really are, against like this world-ending threat that like you need to deal with. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just like so good. I really enjoy it. Really say that everybody should check it out. I've played through it, quite a few times. Leveled all my characters up to like level, 99, I think is the max you can do.
100 actually.
Oh, it is 100 in this game. Okay, it's a level 100 for
I think
everybody.
so.
And like, I don't know, man. I just really love this game. I just think it's really well done. And I think like the themes of it are like really good. And I don't know, man. It's just like super, super good. And I think it's really unique. The only thing that I would complain about is that I do hate that it ends on a cliffhanger, which isn't really
Hmm.
that much of a cliffhanger because they do kind of continue with Mother 3. But it's just that we don't get to. It's a cliffhanger for Ness, is the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
Like Ness's story is over, basically. Like we do get to see where like the cliffhanger goes because of Mother 3, but it's just that like Ness is no longer involved at that point, which kind of sucks. And I would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen like more of Ness is the bad part.
Yeah.
That and my other complaint is that it just really sucks that they just never made more games. Like after this, they made Mother 3 on GBA. That game, you can always emulate it, but it's been like a whole hassle where they've never really localized it officially. And they
Hmm.
just made the 3 games and that was it. And it's like I feel like there's just so much more to like explore, I feel like they could do more. Like, I don't know, like I would like more games in this style. Like I know other stuff has popped up like Undertale and like Omari and stuff, but like I would just like to see more of like this series, and it's kind of disappointing
Yeah,
that's just never happened, I guess.
yeah, it's because I think I had heard that like I think because I mean I get it. Nintendo does own this. Like Nintendo can just say like yeah, forget it. We can do whatever we want with the series. But I do remember the creator. He did say that he left at three because he just felt that there wasn't anything else he needed to keep writing. And he did say that yes, Nintendo should make a fourth one if they want
Yeah,
to.
because
But
he's totally been down where he's like, if someone wants to like continue the series, I'm fine with that. Like, it
mhm,
doesn't bother me, which is pretty cool because some creators are like, no, if I'm not involved or stuff like that. It's pretty cool. He says if someone else wants to continue it, go ahead. But it just
mhm.
sucks that Nintendo's, there's so much series like this and like um F-Zero, and there's all these series where like they just like don't really do anything with them, which really sucks. Like for instance, in like the Kid Icarus Uprising, that was a really good game. Basically, jumping over to what's his name? Oh my God, why am
Zero Sakurai.
Yes, I for his name, I totally blanked there for a moment.
How?
Sakurai really laid the blueprint for like, bam, here is Kid Icarus updated. Kind of give him a blueprint of like what they could do, like if they wanted to continue. And no, they just haven't bothered. That,
Yeah.
and so that's what bothers me about Nintendo. They just leave some series dormant and like just don't do anything with them. And it really sucks because this guy, like I said he's totally fine with like, hey, someone wants to make something, go ahead. If Nintendo wants to make more games, like, it doesn't bother him. But Nintendo just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like they have some weird thing where they respect that he doesn't like he personally doesn't want to make more. So maybe there's some weird thing where they feel like no, like if he doesn't want to make more, then we just can't make more because I guess like they feel like he's the one that has to be writing them, I guess. But like come on, like at least like find someone that like knows like what to do. Like especially because like this dude works with so many people that like there has to be someone that's like an apprentice of it in a sense. So it's kind of awkward to be like, oh yeah, no, he doesn't definitely has like no other people who's like been with him and cohorts and stuff. It's like, oh no, there has to be a lot of people that were involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just sucks. Like, it wouldn't be the
Hmm.
worst thing in the world if this like the little trilogy we got. It's fine, I guess, but I don't know. I would like to see more. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things where like I don't know. At the very least, what I would like to see, okay, let's not think they're not going to make more. I would love to see Earthbound specifically, um, get a remake in the style of Link's Awakening,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
That would make
that
sense.
little diorama style. Because when they were
Hmm.
promoting the game, they would always use like the little clay figures, like for like the cast and stuff. So at the very
Hmm.
least, if they're not gonna like do anything with the series, at the very least, I would love to see like an updated, remake in that like Link's Awakening diorama style. That would kill for that. That would be like really cool at least. And I think it would work
Hmm.
really well with the aesthetics of this game. But once again, I don't know. Nintendo does what it does, so whatever.
Yeah.
But at least it is what it is. At least the games are there. At least they exist, and it's a really good game. I can't, at the very least, it exists. I love it, and I don't know. I just wish more people would play it because it's just such a fun game. It's just so well done. So I don't know. I guess that's all I can really say. Just like play the game. It's so good, and like I hope more people play it. Hope more people check it out. I've thought about how it might be fun to play it on the channel someday, but it's just one of those things where like, it is kind of long. You know what I mean? But now
Hmm.
that I've done like a couple of long ass games on the channel, like we've done like the Kingdom Hearts games. We're currently doing little Tears of the Kingdom, and with Terrific, I'm doing Persona 3 Portable, that sort of thing. And
Hmm.
maybe one of these days I'll do Earthbound. Maybe I could do it one of these days, but at the same time, the channel just feel like it's kind of small. Like I kind of would like
Hmm.
to like have more eyes on it too. Like if I'm gonna share it, so like I'm almost like, oh, I wish the channel would grow more. Like I wish it would blow up. So when I share this, like there's as much eyes on it as possible at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love this game. I think it is great. And luckily, unlike Mother 3, at least it is a little easier to play it. It is on more like systems and stuff, you know what I mean? Like it
Hmm.
is on Nintendo Switch Online and the Wii U Virtual Console, and you could always like easily emulate and stuff. So it is widely available, at least like compared to Mother 3, which is like a little harder to deal with. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I would just say play it, just try it out. It might be like a little hard to get into at the beginning, like made to get used to like the controls, like the inventory, and stuff like that. But I think once you kind of like start getting into like the groove of it and start like progressing with the story, I think you'll like really like it because, like I said, it's just like really fun, and it's just such like fun, mechanics for fighting, and like the little story is like really awesome, and like I don't know, just seeing like the relationships with the characters and stuff, and like this is like a really charming game. I really like it, and I hope more people give it a chance. So yeah.
Nice. Uh,
What's up?
I got some words for the game too. Yeah, same thing. I agree with all you said. I definitely recommend as well. I did play this game on my channel. Like was it last year? Yes, it was actually last year. It was last year I played the game. I had beaten it. It was actually the first JRPG, not action adventure RPG like Kingdom Hearts, that I actually beat completely. And definitely loved it. Someday I hope I may play Mother 3 on the channel. But in the meantime, I do recommend you guys go and check out that playthrough as well. So you guys get like maybe like a bit of an idea if you guys see like the first part and that's it. And then say like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go check out the game, then come back. So I definitely recommend, you check out that too. And same thing, like I said about checking out, like even after like seeing like the first part, like even then, I still just recommend you go and you check out the game, like at any time. Like right after this video, I would actually recommend you guys go and get an emulator and get like the ROM, you know, and try
Yeah,
to play it because it's a really
yeah.
good game.
Either that, or like I said, it is on Nintendo Switch Online, or
Exactly.
if you still have like the Wii. Well, yeah, I guess you would have had to have already bought it because I was gonna say it is on like
Hmm.
Wii U Virtual Console, but yeah, I guess the unless you already bought it and you just never like tried it out, yeah, Nintendo Switch Online, or just emulate the damn game. Honest, it's one of those things where it's like, come on, man, just
Yeah, it's old too. Like, come
like
on, like
Nintendo doesn't they're not releasing a physical edition anywhere. A physical cartridge costs a whole shit ton of money. It's just one of those things where it's
costs almost 1,000
dude,
or
just I would say emulate it. Like no one's losing anything.
more.
Just go for it, man.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like I definitely recommend the game. I love it. Same thing. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. I give it like maybe like a 10 out of 10, honestly.
Yeah,
Of like,
for me it's easily a 10 out of 10. I just think it's like really unique.
hmm.
And yeah, I love it. One of my favorites. So there you go, guys. That's two people giving it a recommendation. Check it out. Hope you check it out.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys check it out.
Alrighty, and that is it for now. That is the end of our podcast. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Oh, right. I was about to like close off, all that good stuff. Uh do want to say now, just in case it happens, I am not sure if next week, for like when we record the podcast, I might be out of town. I'm not entirely sure yet. So next week, if there isn't a new podcast episode, you guys don't know why, because that means I guess I did end up having to be out of town. But once again, it's not confirmed. It's like a maybe thing. So we'll try to be back next week. We'll
Hmm.
try to meet back up. We'll try to be here next week. All that good stuff. But if it doesn't happen, if there's not a podcast episode, like if we end up having to skip a week, at least you guys know that it's like, I give you the heads up that, I, might have to be out of town. I'm not too sure yet. And that will probably take up my time of when we usually record and all that stuff. So, we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. So, maybe I'll see you guys later. Maybe I'll see you week after next. Regardless, though, hope you guys take care of yourselves. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. And with that being said, we are out. Bye bye.
Bye bye.